Executive order from the White House bolstered aid for foster care. The Friendship House is also getting support now from the state. In a conference call this morning, the group announced a $300,000 investment in their work. Marcellus Somerville is president of the Friendship House. He says he's grateful for the grant. He tells us this will allow them to serve even more people in the year ahead and considers that grant an indication of confidence.
It just gives me a sign of belief and hope in the mission here.
The Friendship House is a nonprofit offering support across Peoria. They help high schoolers prepare for adulthood with learning supports for kids. He emphasizes that helping everyone requires community buy-in.